10 anime characters with unconventional abilities that we love. Number 10, Naota Nandaba, FLCL. One of the things that makes FLCL such an enduring classic is how absolutely bonkers the whole thing is. And that includes that character's powers. Naota Nandaba is a seemingly ordinary 12-year-old boy until Haruko opens up the NO channel in his forehead. This channel and its resulting powers can draw giant robots towards his city, stop satellites from crushing his city, summon guitars, fuse guitars together, fly, and more. Because of the surreal, zany nature of the series, it can be difficult to track exactly what Naota's doing with his powers, and what he's being made to do by Atomisk, but either way, it's a whole lot of fun to watch. Number 9, Accelerator, a certain magical index. There are a lot of strong contenders for the coolest unconventional power in a certain magical index, but we have to give it up for Accelerator. He can control vectors' magnitude and direction. This allows him to do things like reverse the course of bullets heading towards him, making it incredibly difficult for anybody to attack him barring special circumstances. Besides defense, his vector control lets him do things like cause earthquakes, generate plasma, and control another person's blood in their veins. Unfortunately for Accelerator, some of these things happen passively. That's why he's so pale. He's never been exposed to ultraviolet rays because they're automatically deflected away from him. Number 8, Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald, Bungo Stray Dogs. In the world of Bungo Stray Dogs, all the characters are named after famous authors, and their powers have a connection to the themes of their books. Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald's is called the Great Fitzgerald. Through this ability, he gains increased physical strength through spending money. The parameters for this are pretty broad. He can also spend something valuable like a wedding ring. And he can even get a boost through something that isn't strictly spending money, like throwing checks at people. It sounds like exactly the kind of metaphor that the real Scott Fitzgerald might have come up with if he wrote supernatural stories. Number 7, Levy McGarden, Fairy Tail. Most of the powers in Fairy Tail stand out, but solid script is a particularly fun one. Levy has the ability to manifest physical forms of words in the air, and create effects related to those words. With solid script silent, she can cancel out any nearby noise, including sound-based attacks. With solid script fire, she can create an arc of flames. The ability seems to have limitless possibilities. If there's a word for it, Levy can manifest it. Number 6, Kimimaro, Naruto. Kimimaro's attacks aren't enough to earn him a win during his battle against Gaara and Rock Lee. But that's less because of its effectiveness and more because he happened to be seriously ill at the time. His Kekai Genkai is called Shikatsumyaku, and it allows him to manipulate the osteoblast and osteoclast cells in his body. This lets him control the density of his bones and move them in any direction he wants. He can use them as sharp blades, or create a bone barrier that's nearly impossible to break through. None of this appears to damage his body. His skin doesn't even break. The only downside to his Kekai Genkai is the fact that his body functions so differently from the average person's that he can't get effective treatment for his terminal illness. While this is a definite problem for Kimimaro, it makes his ability feel a little more realistic. Number 5, Tsukishima, Bleach. Shukuro Tsukishima is a Fullbringer, and his signature ability is one of the most disturbing and bizarre in all of Bleach, and it's also extremely cool. Using a sword called the Book of the End, he can do two things. First, he can use it for more conventional purposes, slicing and slashing his opponents. But he can also use it to cut apart the history of their lives. Using this technique, he can insert himself into his target's past, and alter it as he sees fit. If they realize that their new histories don't match reality, they can lose their sanity. He can do the same thing to objects, which lets him change their history to give them a different structure, or even implant traps. Number 4. Bruno Bucciarati, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is known for having some of the weirdest powers in the world of anime. Which means that there are plenty that deserve to be on this list that don't get the spotlight this time. For now, we're going to focus on Bruno Bucciarati's stand, Sticky Fingers. Contrary to what the name implies, Sticky Fingers isn't about shoplifting. It lets him create a zipper on any solid surface, the human body included. He can use it for a wide range of purposes, including cutting a person into chunks by unzipping them, creating a blade out of zippers, create hiding places for any person or thing that needs safekeeping, and more. Besides the zippers, Bucciarati can also determine whether or not someone is lying by the taste of their sweat. We're not sure if that one is cool or just weird, but hey, at least he's multi-talented. Number 3. Tsuru, One Piece. Most of the techniques in One Piece are awesomely weird to some degree or another. For now, we'll focus on one that's lesser known, Tsuru's Wash Fruit. This retired Marine Vice Admiral can transform targets into floppy, flat things that she can spread out like laundry, literally hanging them out to dry. This might come across as just straight up weird without being awesome, but there's more to it than that. She can do more than just subdue them. She can actually wash some of the evil out of their hearts, transforming them into kinder, better people than they were when the conflict started. If only all fights could be resolved like that. Number 2. Tamaki Amajiki, My Hero Academia. Tamaki Amajiki's quirk, Manifest, is the most literal possible interpretation of, you are what you eat. He's able to physically manifest anything he eats in his body. This can mean sprouting wings when he eats chicken, tentacles when he eats takoyaki, hard clamshells when he eats clams, and so on. This ability requires him to plan his diet carefully before a fight, and also to carry snacks on hand. So while it might seem flashy and strange, it actually requires some serious strategic thinking to make it work. Number 1. Knuckle Bine, A.P.R. Knuckle Bine looks like an old-school anime gang leader, which makes his nen ability, A.P.R, all the more delightfully unexpected. Using A.P.R, Knuckle lends his opponent his aura and attaches an adorable mascot to them that can't be removed. The mascot adds 10% interest every 10 seconds. Once the amount exceeds the aura that the target has left, they go bankrupt, and A.P.R transforms into IRS, a different mascot that prevents the target from using any nen at all for a month. Who would have thought that finances would be such a great inspiration source for a nen ability? Referred to Ranker.com.